Presented by PlayStation Days of Play.
Hey everyone, it's Lucy and Tam here at Summer Game Fest Play Days in Los Angeles, and we are joined by a friend of ours, the lovely Alex Jordan, actor extraordinaire.
Oh wow!
Hey.
Why do you?
Oh, that's my $5. Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Why were you surprised by that? You're not familiar with your career?
I don't know. I mean, it feels nice. People just say
nice.
that guy over there.
That guy who followed us in.
Yeah.
So if you're unaware of Alex, there's amazing work. Sherlock Holmes, Mr. Hands in Cyberpunk, you've got Rook from Dragon Age, and I think the project we're most excited to talk to you about because it is imminent.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the Alters. You are the Alters.
I'm the Alters.
How many different versions of Jan do you play? Or Yan do you play?
Yeah. Do you know what? I love this. So 11-bit have already asked me if we can do a video where I break down everyone's pronunciations of Yan and like rinse them for it. So
we know
that's
a Jan.
That's
we
now
know
on
a
the list.
Jan.
I know a Jan, and it's spelled exactly the same. So.
And then I thought it could be a soft J, so is it Yan?
So Jan Dolsky.
Jan Dolsky.
11 versions of Jan Dolsky. It's an actor's dream. Like it's the thing that every actor kind of longs for, an opportunity to kind of go, hey, here's everything that I can do.
Yeah.
And I genuinely don't think there is another video game that has done something like this. I think the comparable thing is like D. Bradley Baker with the clones in sort of Bad Batch and that kind of,
All the rabbits in Raving Rabbids.
Well, there you go.
I was going to say the only thing that I can really maybe Split. James McAvoy.
Split, but even then, he's playing totally different people. Yeah. The challenge with this one has been that I play 11 different versions of the same person who all branch and split from a point in their life that they fundamentally go on to become different people who have lived different lives, have different lived experiences, have different opinions, views of the world, but they still have to believably be the same person.
Yeah.
So the level of, I know that I went, extraordinaire. Like, it then sounds really too much to be like the nuance that you have to do that is like,
I was thinking about this and like we've seen bits of different versions of them, like the difference between Yan you start with and like engineer Yan. Like you as an actor, it must be tricky to like, I need to do the same voice, but embody that this person's life has made their demeanor different.
Yes. I think the best way that I can describe it is we have a spectrum in which we can have the voices sit without it becoming cartoonish and caricature.
So one's not going to be Southern drawl,
so
the other's going to be Irish.
We do have a Southern drawl in, but so we have the idea of like they split and went off to do different things, but they have to still believably feel like it's not a cartoon anymore. Right. Do you know what I mean?
Right. So it's like me moving to America and becoming slightly American.
Exactly. You'll have like something in there, but when you have 11 different versions, you kind of have a limited range. And the way in which I can best describe it is that you have original Jan, base Jan, who acts as like the basement level, and he's the foundations. And then you can kind of build from there with how far you can get away from him. But with any building, like it can only be built so tall before it becomes unviable and it like falls apart. And I think that's the best way I can describe it, is that if you build too far away from the original Jan that we start with, then you start to go as a player and as a someone enjoying it, you go like, this isn't working anymore. It doesn't make sense. I mean, you have this challenge of creating all these different versions of the character, but you can never go too far away.
Yeah.
How would a typical recording session even work? Do you know which Jan you're going for? How do you get into? Are you doing a Billy West in Futurama and talking to yourself?
Yeah. So this is the thing. When you do video games, so much of the time, you're either talking to no one because the other person hasn't been in to record their stuff yet, or you're talking to like a recording of someone. You basically never get to be in a booth with someone else unless you're doing performance capture, you're doing motion capture. So this was a really unique one because we would start with the alter. We would start with the clone version, the alter version, and we would go through their side of the conversation. And then we would go back to the beginning and we'd go through base Jan because he's the concurrent, and it's the easiest to kind of go, right, well, we'll come back from the other side and just do him because he's the running theme and it's very easy to just slot into like what he is because he's basically just me but American,
That was
so weird. Don't do that again.
So he literally is like, so that's the easiest one. But for each different alter, there's different physical things that I would do. So like the scientist is very precise when he talks, and everything he says, there's enunciation and it has a meaning and a purpose. So as I'm doing it, I'm doing this out of the side of my, vision, and it's about being precise. And then you got like the technician sort of has this kind of jaw kind of comes a bit forward, so just slightly changes the way the S's sound. Little things like that will change it. The miner is constantly in pain, so I would literally like tense my whole core. So when he's talking, you kind of have this guy who really just sounds like he's in pain the whole time.
It sounds like he needs to go to the toilet, but...
He sounds like he needs to go to the toilet, yeah. But yeah, all these different versions, and they all have different ways that they'll hold. Like the refiner is always, like got this smile and stuff. So I would change myself physically to get into the sound in the voice, and it would kind of act as a trigger. It's like a muscle memory.
Right.
The moment you can change your whole body to do something, then the vocal folds kind of just slot into place as well. But honestly, it got really, really challenging towards the end, because as you get towards the end, you're doing a lot of pickups. You're doing a lot of added lines, things where they're going, okay, well, the dialogue in this scene is good, but maybe we'll add some bits in. So where before I would do 3 scenes of one alter, go back and do the yarn side, then we would move on to the next one. I'd say the last 15% of recording, 20% of recording, was basically just going, okay, 3 lines as the technician, 1 is yarn, 4 lines as the scientist, 2 is yarn, 3 lines as the refiner, which again is like, we've got like, the guard is like, it's got like a bit of northeast in there. We've got the refiner who's west coast. So doing that, I actually found the hardest bit to be not when we were doing a lot of the emotion stuff and not when we were doing a lot of the hard, heavy themes of the game. It was when we were doing a lot of the superficial stuff, but it was just jumping around from altar to altar to altar and trying to keep a consistency there that was hard. Like that's mentally draining.
Yeah, even just like a memory task. Like I was gonna ask, like, how do you keep track of them? And it seems like you like use physicality as a marker to get there.
100%.
But that must be exhausting when you're doing it either as pickups or like just in chunks.
100%. Like I would do 4-hour sessions at a time, because you have to protect your voice. And also 4 hours of non-stop talking is a lot. Like I think but by the time we're done on this, I've done about 410 to 420 hours of just in the booth, just talking. It's all just me talking to me. But I was doing, for example, Veilgaurd, I was doing concurrent with the alters as well at one point. And there was a 6-month window where I was doing 8 hours a day, 5 days a week in the booth talking.
That's rough.
I literally would get home to my wife and just be like, don't want to talk now, just gonna go and sit in silence.
What was that?
In the corner.
You talked a while back about this medicine that you use, or some item.
Ninjom paper koa. Oh my goodness.
What is it called?
Ninjom paper koa. Okay. So it's this Chinese herbal syrup that you can mix with hot water. No one really knows what's in it.
That sounds ominous.
It does sound ominous. No one really knows what is in it. But I will tell you now that if you are ever, in a way, we're like, oh, my voice is a little bit struggling today. Have a little bit of that. Right. You're fixed.
I lose my voice all the time. So
honestly, it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
You got any with you?
I don't have any with me, but I did go into. I did a little tour around. Side is the studio we record in a lot of the stuff back in the UK, and they've got an LA office. And there were a lot of similarities between the LA and the London office. The one that I was most pleased to see. Loads of Ninjom paper koa.
I love
loads of that. And then I got lovely. I went for lunch with Matt and Marisha from Critical Role the other day, and Marisha took me to the Critical Role studio. Right. And they had loads of it on the side, and I was like, yes, yes. I'm so happy that it's like,
This is like an industry secret now being put out there. If I'm an actor and I've been approached by a company to do a voice for 11 different characters, am I negotiating 1 fee? Or 11 fees?
You're negotiating 1 fee.
Okay.
So I have seen a lot of people saying, oh, well, this is one way to keep the costs of voice acting down. Yeah. It ends up being the same.
Okay.
Because
time in the booth.
it's you're paid by the hour.
Oh.
So
right.
the character will still have that amount of time recording. So yeah, it's for one character. It's for one. You negotiate 1 fee.
Yeah.
Although now you make me question: should I have done?
I mean, the answer is you should have done individual each one, but yeah.
I literally I had my first proper experience of doing real like contract work recently because
you were in Andor.
I did not do my own for Andor. No, I had my agent do that for me. Do that Star Wars contract. No, I am a big believer and a big fan in. Right now, there's a voice actor strike going on.
Yes.
There's a lot of complication with AI voices coming through.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer in we can strike. I can't in the UK. Legally, we're not able to. We can show solidarity, but we can't strike. But we can strike collectively. We can show where we stand with that. That's well and good, but I believe that the way in which we're going to really see a proper change and the way we're going to properly be able to fight back against it is if we change the way studios value voice actors and actors. So I've recently been doing a load of stuff of contracts with my D&D group, Natural Six, and we just had a trailer come out yesterday. I turned the altars into a TTRPG, and I spent 60 hours figuring out how I was going to make it a TTRPG.
Right.
And basically, I think like it's providing an extra value. It's going, cool, we don't just have to do the traditional marketing stuff. We can come up with really cool ideas, and we can do this thing where, it's going to be a really unique way of bringing people into the game. But I'm so used to having an agent do all my legal work for me, and suddenly I was on the legal work.
Yeah, I was going to say,
man.
When you do something like that, again, advice for other people, because you're saying if you're a voice actor, use your ability and this thing that you've created in ways that only you can do it. But if you're in that situation, like, do you have the freedom to be like, I'm going to take the altars or my character from this into something else, or does it become a discussion with like the developer, publisher? Is it as easy as doing it, or is it much more complicated? This was
a collaboration, a conversation where there were bits built into it which was saying all the characters and everything belong to you, but the mechanics that I've come up with for the TTRPG belong to me.
Okay.
So there's a constant dialogue going on there. I did have to seek a lot of advice from the wonderful Holly Bennett, who is in Natural Six. Oh my goodness, Holly Bennett knows so much stuff. It is terrifying when you see Holly Bennett in full workflow. It's a force of nature.
Oh, I saw her like Holly, friend of ours as well. Currently at Square Enix, does Natural Six. But I remember seeing her itinerary for a holiday in Japan.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And I was afraid.
Yes. It's her pinned tweet. She has a breakdown of like...
I saw her
minute
in
by
Japan
minute.
one time, and she was like, do this. And I was like, I'm not here for that long.
I sent it to my best mate. He got married. I was best man at his wedding, and they've recently gone and had their honeymoon in Japan. And I was like, oh, you need to have a look at this document. And I sent over the document, and he just came back and went, that's terrifying. Yeah. It's a constant negotiation. Like it's very much still, it's theirs. It's all theirs. It's just the mechanics and stuff. And I have seen people say immediately going, oh, will the TTRPG be available one day?
Yeah.
To that, I would say, I don't know.
Final question, going back to the AI part of it. Obviously, in that scenario, you mentioned like you have a character that you've built. And you're kind of pushing that further.
Yep.
I guess the people who are trying to figure this out, and actors would say the issue is a lot of the technology enables people to create characters from scratch. So kind of bypass you entirely.
Yep.
How do you approach that, and how do you kind of solve for that as an actor who's trying to preserve your kind of your art and your craft?
This is a very good and interesting question. I think there's multiple answers to it, and I'll try and keep them as succinct as possible. I think the first one is AI voices is definitely coming for our jobs. It absolutely is. I think that games are going to be one of the last to go because they require still a large amount of acting and interpretation of the scene and the material, and there's things that AI just still can't do. I think it's terrifying that we're looking now at stuff that AI used to not be able to do even like 6 months ago. So it's terrifying to think that it will be able to do it in the future. But, for example, a game like this, I don't think there ever will be a way in which you can go, okay, take this one voice. Now, what would it sound like if they stood up to their abusive father and went on to college and became a doctor? And then AI is not going to be able to interpret that and make that work on a human level. It can come up with something and make a sound, but I still think this is a perfect example of the ways in which human interpretation will always be superior to AI.
Yeah.
But then I think it is about doing the extracurricular stuff to make yourself AI-proof, to prove to studios that you have a worth outside of just your time in the booth. Okay. I think the thing that AI will never, well, I know the thing that AI will never be able to do is connect with the community and connect with people who, enjoy the game and enjoy the world, going to conventions and meeting people. And I've had chats with like some amazing people. I had one which was really great at Birmingham Comic Con, and this guy came up and he was very quiet, and we were talking about Cyberpunk, talking about Mr. Hands, and he starts to open up more and more and more. And then as he left, his mum kind of came up and was like, I want you to know that I've never seen him talk like that. And those things, that value that the players get from the actors and that connection, that's never going to come from it. You're never going to have that. And that would be a real shame to lose. So I think I think there's always inherently going to be human performance will have a sense of heart that will always be valued, particularly in video games. And then I think as actors, we need to really, it's a difficult thing because it's asking people to put in a lot of time and effort they might not have when the jobs are depleting and they're having to do other work to make ends meet, and it requires a lot of time that you then might not have, but the way in which you're going to be able to fight back is by showing that you have more to give than just your time in the booth. Yeah.
Well, Alex, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you very much for having me.
A lot of knowledge on us.
Yeah.
I tried.
Right.
I really tried hard.
Good job. I like it.
All right. Well, thank you so much again. And for more from Summer Game Fest and The Alters, which is out very, very soon, make sure to stay tuned to GameSpot.